Could parents really be incarcerated for cutting meat from their kids' diets? This sounds absolutely crazy, but those controversial plans were recently put forward as an idea in Italy as a way to curb certain vegan parents from imposing strict food restrictions on their young.
A nursery has come under fire for introducing 100% vegan meals for all the children. Some parents are describing the move as madness.
Recent figures show 1 in 12 parents are raising their children as vegan.
If you're vegan, should your child be vegan too?
No hamburgers, no pizza, no ice cream. Many parents are making the decision to raise their children as strict vegans.
What? Are vegans actually pushing their views on their children?
In this video, we're going to talk about vegan parenting and whether it's the right thing to do. We're going to talk about nutrition, we're going to talk about social isolation, and most importantly, we're going to talk about the child's right to choose. The media gives a lot of time to people who oppose this idea, so I decided to contact some vegan parents that I know to find out their perspective.
Do you feel like you're forcing your views on Jack?
Well, actually, I think that's the wrong terminology that we would use. It's not a view. It is actually educating Jack on the truth. The view is actually from the opposition who think we are forcing a view. We are just telling the truth to our son.
No, I'm telling them the truth. So I'm not forcing any views. I'm literally telling them the truth, you know. So what do you want a parent to do? A parent does force their views on their children. That's literally what parenting is, isn't it?
Were your children vegan from birth?
So yeah, my daughter is now about 3.5. She's been vegan since we've been vegan, and my son, he was still breastfeeding at the time, and he has naturally been vegan his whole life.
Jack was born vegetarian like I was. He was about 16 months old when we all went vegan.
Well, obviously only one of my children speak. My daughter, she's never asked why don't we eat this. She naturally knows. You know, we say, do you want to eat animals? She's like, nah, it's natural for children to love and find animals cute. Why would they want to eat them?
I won't eat animals.
Okay.
I know that we cook them sometimes, which is not very nice. And I know we like to eat animals that we cook, but that's not nice for them.
That's so cute.
You know, she says what we're all thinking.
Yeah, the way that that's put, it's just very simple, isn't it? That's kind of what it all boils down to. It's not very nice for them. I don't think they like it very much. So let's not do it. She's great.
Yeah, we could be in a supermarket and we go past the eggs and she's like, they come out of chickens' bums. You know what I mean? So, and they do, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So if you follow a particular religion, then you know, families tend to raise their children to that religion. But we're talking about, you know, not abusing animals here. That's a view that I think a lot of people would agree that they wouldn't want to be part of.
A non-vegan parent, just to say, for example, my parents, you know, when I was younger, obviously I wasn't vegan when I was younger. My parents didn't say it had, you know, cow's breast milk in, but they didn't say it didn't either. You know, was it my parents' fault? Was it their parents' fault? You know, they only did what their parents did to them. You know, it's non-vegan world, isn't it? So, exactly. I like to think I'm kind of breaking that chain just by telling the truth, the literal truth.
Would you like if someone ate you?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, then why should I eat this poor harmless animal?
One bite. Do it.
You know, vegans forcing their views on children, like that was literally forcing her child to eat an animal right there.
Yeah, and she's like, I know that I understand that kids just don't want to eat things, and a lot of time, like, you know, things like broccoli. She's not got this kind of excuse. If I don't like it, it's like you've hurt someone for this, and I don't agree with that. It's like, so it's something that's traumatizing.
What I find misleading is, you know, in the morning, sitting your child down, watching CBeebies, watching Peppa Pig.
Oh yeah.
And then feeding them a
pig sausage.
A pig sausage sandwich. And then they'll say, oh, son, it's only pork or something like that. And they completely divert away from what it actually is by using that word.
And we don't use those words. We use them as a cow, pig, chicken. You know, we don't change the words. For me, as someone who's never eaten animals, I've never wanted to eat animals.
Am I worried about malnutrition for my children? Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. I think most vegans are very aware of nutrition. You're naturally kind of because one of the biggest things you should change by going vegan is obviously your diet. So I think you naturally look into it, and yeah, me and my wife, yeah, we my children are very healthy. Malnutrition in veganism is a myth. There's put it this way. I always say to these anti-vegans is that no one ever talks about the malnutrition non-vegans. 99% of malnutrition children are not vegan. So, but why are they never mentioned? If I died in a car crash, it'd be because I'm vegan to these anti-vegans. That's what it is.
All parents should be worried about deficiencies, really. And the thing is, when you are a vegan parent, you have to do a lot of research about where you can get things. When it comes to families asking for support to raise their children vegan or whatever, I always refer them back to the plant-based health professionals plant-based table, because it tells you the requirements of what children should be eating of a certain age, before 6 months, after 6 months and up. Yeah, all children should be supplemented. So Jack is supplemented. He has his little brand of gummy, and he has fortified plant milk as well.
As vacas, a mãe matou pra cortar a carne.
Você não pode, mamãe.
Pô, mas não tem asinha de galinha que você gosta? É a galinha que a mãe matou e tirou o braço dela.
Você não pode.
Mas eu faço.
Você não pode.
Eu faço.
It's funny, isn't it? Like they lack understanding of these quite basic concepts that they'll later come to learn, but then older people, they've learned so much and then they come to misunderstand other basic concepts. Like, oh, we don't need to do that, so let's not.
I think it's an ego thing when you get older, you know. I think like going vegan is admitting you were wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so hard for people to do that.
Yeah, 100%. There are people I know who wouldn't, just because, you know, that would imply incorrect. Yeah, so, but kids don't mind being wrong.
So are you worried that veganism will affect your children socially?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it is on my mind sometimes. Not so much anymore. It was mainly before we kind of took my daughter to nursery. All my worries have gone because they've been fingers crossed it's not just this nursery, but yeah, they've been nothing but supportive. Whether that's would have been interesting to wonder what it would have been like, you know, maybe a few years ago, maybe 5-10 years ago. I think, you know, veganism is certainly on the rise. You know, slow as it is, but it is on the rise.
Currently, there is quite a negative perception on vegan children. And that is sort of why we are here. There's a lot of families out there who perhaps don't have the confidence to want to raise their children vegan, and because of the exclusion that they've heard from the opposition, we are here trying to normalise vegan families and vegan children. But yes, there are exceptions where children are excluded, very much so. Schools are one of them, and we have a project that we have put together to approach schools across the UK to look at vegan inclusion in education, you know, making sure they have an appropriate menu to eat while they're at school, because children need foods that are going to help them grow and develop. I do hope things get better. The things I hear that many schools are already doing really well with, you know, looking after vegan children.
This is amazing that the nursery teachers, if you will, the nursery, the adults, they were actually telling everyone. She was the only vegan child, you know, Willow's, our daughter was the only vegan child at the nursery. And they actually did like a lesson to all the children, you know, what veganism is, which I thought was amazing. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, wow, yeah, that's actually incredible. And apparently there was like I laugh now, it's not really funny, but one of the children put their hand up and said, "Oh, my dad's a farmer." For this, it's like, yeah, it was my daughter was like, "I don't eat animals."
And when you were in school and that, being vegetarian, was that quite rare at that time?
I was the only one.
And did you find that socially excluding at all?
Not really. I was very much to say, well, I'm vegetarian, I don't eat that. I've always been, I don't eat animals. I've always been the same. People might have thrown things at me or just took a joke, but yeah, kids are like that. It was nothing.
Yeah. And maybe it was a couple of people who thought they were just being funny, trying to make a joke, right? Okay.
uncomfortable, probably. Didn't really know what they were talking about.
Yeah. So
But
is
then
this
neither did I.
so is this what you foresee for Jack as well as he gets older?
Potentially. But I think looking back for me, I was the minority back then. Now there is a lot more vegan children.
The thing is, there's a stigma. Yeah, there's a stigma about veganism. We need to get rid of. There's myths about veganism. We need to get rid of. And yeah, there's even probably more of a stigma about vegan parents and vegan children. Definitely. So that's what we're trying to fight. That's what we're trying to get rid of.
So if a family was to want support, there is a website and an Instagram page called The Vegan Switch. If I was available, I would be able to mentor that particular parent or family through the Vegan Switch as well. It's free. You get a one-to-one mentor. So it might be one of us, it might be one of the others. And it's very different from the usual mentorship programs because you can have that contact one-to-one and through a video call if they prefer.
Well, that's it. I hope we were able to dispel some myths around vegan parenting. Everybody in this video does a lot of great work for veganism, so please do go check out their channels. We've got UK Vegan Family and I'm Easy Vegan. And if you enjoyed the sections where myself and Vegan Gaze were reacting to children who don't want to eat animals, make sure you head over and watch the rest of the video on her channel. Now remember to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff to help the algorithm promote veganism.